In the heart of West Africa, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the 36-year-old leader of Burkina Faso, has risen as a symbol of youth-led revolution and anti-imperialist defiance. Coming to power through a military coup in 2022, Traoré has captured the imagination of millions across the continent, particularly the young and disillusioned, by promising to take back control of Burkina Faso's destiny from foreign powers, especially France. But who is he really? What kind of leader is Traoré shaping up to be? And which historical figures does his rise echo? As Africa once again finds itself at a crossroads, comparisons to other legendary figures are inevitable. Some view him as a new Sankara, others liken him to Lumumba or even Rawlings. Let's examine the leaders Traoré is most often compared to, and why those comparisons matter. 1. Thomas Sankara, the revolutionary blueprint. If there is one comparison that resonates the loudest, it is with Thomas Sankara, the charismatic revolutionary who ruled Burkina Faso from 1983 to 1987. Like Traoré, Sankara came to power via a military coup. He quickly transformed the political landscape with bold, self-reliant policies and a fiery denunciation of Western neo-colonialism. Sankara famously rejected foreign aid, encouraged agricultural independence, and promoted women's rights in a deeply patriarchal society. Traoré has repeatedly invoked Sankara's name and vision, even calling himself a son of Sankara. His supporters see him as a continuation of Sankara's dream, a dream that was cut short when Sankara was assassinated in a coup widely believed to have foreign backing. Shared ideals, anti-imperialism, youth empowerment, self-sufficiency, Pan-African unity, difference. While Sankara implemented sweeping economic and social reforms within a short time, Traoré is still early in his leadership and is more focused, so far, on military, defense and national security. 2. Patrice Lumumba, the martyr of sovereignty. Patrice Lumumba, the first prime minister of an independent Congo, was a bold and unflinching leader who stood up to Belgian colonial interests and the West. His assassination, in 1961, just months after independence, remains one of the darkest chapters in post-colonial Africa. Traoré channels Lumumba's fierce nationalism and unapologetic demand for African sovereignty. His rhetoric against French military presence and neo-colonial influence echoes Lumumba's final letter to his wife, in which he vowed never to betray his people, even at the cost of his life. Shared ideals, political independence from Western influence, national dignity and African pride, readiness to die for the cause. Difference. Lumumba's power was short-lived and largely civilian. Traoré's base of power is more militarized, and he rules in a time when coups are increasingly normalized in the Sahel. 3. Jerry Rawlings, the soldier who cleaned house. Jerry John Rawlings of Ghana took power in a 1979 coup, returned power to civilians, and then took it back again in 1981 when corruption persisted. He ruled until 2001, eventually transitioning Ghana into a functioning democracy. Rawlings was beloved by the poor, and respected even by his critics for his unrelenting war against corruption and political arrogance. Traoré, like Rawlings, is a military populist, a soldier, who speaks the language of the people and aims to uproot elite misrule. His anti-corruption stance and promise of ethical governance are reminiscent of Rawlings's early days in power. Shared ideals, populist leadership, military intervention as a tool for national renewal, moral cleansing of politics. Difference. Rawlings eventually embraced electoral democracy. It remains to be seen whether Traoré will do the same or entrench military rule. 4. Muammar Gaddafi, the controversial Pan-Africanist. For all his contradictions, Muammar Gaddafi of Libya was perhaps the most vocal proponent of African unity in the modern era. He funded liberation movements, challenged Western domination, and proposed a United States of Africa. His fall in 2011, facilitated by NATO intervention, remains a cautionary tale for African leaders who challenge global powers. Traoré has expressed support for the idea of regional, military alliances and greater African self-defense mechanisms, including joint resistance to foreign interference. Like Gaddafi, he believes that Africans must solve African problems. Shared ideals. Pan-African military cooperation. Rejection of Western-dominated institutions. Call for continental independence. Difference. Gaddafi ruled for over 4 decades and built a cult of personality. Traoré is still shaping his identity and has avoided Gaddafi style. Grandeur. For now. 5. Nelson Mandela. The moral compass. Though Traoré's military path is far different from Nelson, Mandela's struggle for democracy and reconciliation. Some observers view him through the lens of moral leadership. Mandela stood for dignity, justice, and freedom against a deeply racist and oppressive system. Traoré's appeal to dignity, particularly among the youth, echoes the aspirational side of Mandela's legacy. Shared ideals. National dignity. Integrity in leadership. Empowering the marginalized. Difference. Mandela's legacy was rooted in non-violence and inclusive democracy. Traoré's legitimacy comes from the barrel of a gun, and he has yet to chart a path toward democratic governance. 6. George Washington and American founders. Breaking free. This may seem far-fetched, but some Pan-African thinkers have compared Traoré to the founding fathers of the United States, like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who led a successful revolution against British imperialism. They too were labeled rebels and traitors by colonial powers, yet they are now revered for their pursuit of self-rule. Shared ideals. Breaking away from foreign domination. Establishing a new sovereign path. Embracing national pride. Difference. The historical and political contexts are vastly different, but the symbolic defiance of a larger imperial force draws the parallel. Final thoughts. A leader still in the making. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has not yet written his full chapter in history. He is still at the beginning of his journey, navigating threats from Islamist insurgents, economic hardship, and global scrutiny. But one thing is certain. He has revived a revolutionary spirit that many believed had died with Sankara. Whether he will end up as a martyr like Lumumba, a democrat like Rawlings, or a cautionary tale like Gaddafi, will depend on the choices he makes next. For now, Traoré is a symbol, a vessel for hope, pride, and resistance in a continent hungry for change.